So it's time for one of those frequently asked questions. This is something that I decided to do just to ask questions a little bit more personally and via video for everyone to see and get a clear explanation of my answer. This question actually comes from a good friend of mine that I've known most of my life, and he actually emailed me today on my page, and the simple question he asked was, what's the right mix of cardio and resistance training? I'm still not going to use any names. Okay, he's a good friend of mine, and it's a great question. And again, the reason why he wanted to ask this for the frequently asked questions section is specifically because it is a commonly asked question. So, well, I'll tell you this. I'll give you guys the answer that I gave him when I wrote back. I like a 2-to-1 ratio, which simply means 2 parts resistance training, 1 part cardio. When you start developing a circuit training program, what you're doing is you're trying to keep the body moving nonstop. This, of course, keeps you in an endurance state. So when you're doing something like that, it doesn't make sense to do too much cardio because you're already doing so much nonstop. And you certainly don't want to neglect on the resistance training. So here's a great example of a circuit. Start with a pushing movement and follow up with a pulling movement and then some kind of cardio-based movement. A great example of this would be a thruster. A thruster is when you grab 2 pairs of dumbbells, take a squatting position with your arms up by your shoulders, squat down and press up overhead, followed by perhaps a Romanian deadlift upright row. This movement is basically when you hold the 2 dumbbells in front of you, go into a stiff-legged deadlift when you lean forward at the hip, pull the hips forward, and then bring your elbows up. This works both the posterior chain and anterior chain, the front and back side of the body, both upper body and lower body, and it works all the muscles in sync. So you're not going to do just a regular bicep curl and let's say a hip bridge where you're lying on the floor and then start jumping up and down, right? What you're going to do is basically combine 2 big movements or compound movements or multi-joint movements, working a lot of muscles all together, and then throw in the cardiovascular movement. A great example of a cardiovascular movement would be everybody's favorite burpees or mountain climbers. Mountain climbers I actually like a lot because you're in a plank position. What you would do for a mountain climber is you would get onto the floor in a push-up position, maintaining a good head position by pulling your head back, keeping your chest high with your arms out to the side and your chest over the hands. What you're going to do is you're going to draw one leg in toward the chest and then the other one alternating. So one leg is always off the floor, one leg is always on the floor. You don't have to tap the foot with the leg that you bring up towards the knee. Or I'm sorry, you don't have to tap your foot with the leg that you bring it up toward the chest. Okay, so again, to answer the question, 2 parts resistance training, 1 part cardio. You want to keep the circuit going. That is honestly one of the best things you can do. If you try doing all cardio, where you go like burpees, mountain climbers, and something like jumping jacks, that's all. You're not doing any resistance training. You're not adding resistance to your body already. One could argue that you're doing resistance because you're moving your body, but I'm talking about extra resistance that you're not used to moving on a regular basis, something that challenges the muscles. A good 12 to 15, even 20 rep range is great. So start with that. Try that exercise out right there. This is to you specifically, my man who wrote this email. I didn't give you any exercises, but I know that you'll be on the FitRight 6 program, and I'm going to get you fit right. So, again, 2 parts resistance training, 1 part cardio. Keep the circuit going nonstop. All right. Thanks a lot for writing in, and again, any questions, please direct them to me at my Facebook page. That's Facebook/JD FitRight. Simple.